Whoa. Are we actually? Are we live? Okay. Yep.
Hi, everybody. I had to adjust the camera because my cat decided to smack it. Welcome to the
Kingsmith Podcast
King Smith Podcast. Yeah.
with your hosts,
Uh,
The Rock.
I guess
and
Anakin and Nathan and Zach.
with frequent interruptions by Buddy the Cat.
and likely Anakin as well.
And likely Anakin.
Yes.
Anyway,
So,
this is a bit late.
this is a little late.
This is kind of late.
It's all right.
Nathan, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the resurrection week, the things that happened after Christ came from the dead, and also him coming back from the dead.
Yes. Yep. So.
Hey,
Hey.
there we go. I think he's understanding. He's trying to play with the tripod.
Yes.
Hey, buddy.
Come here.
Buddy, don't make us.
One of us is gonna have to get up, and it's gonna be.
I think Anakin is trying to save his life right now. All right, hey, buddy. He's having so much fun right now.
Yep.
Here, let me save his life. Hey, come here.
Buddy's about to. There you go.
All right, he's done. Anyways, so the resurrection happened.
Yes, it
Thank
did.
the Lord.
Praise the Jesus. That he just kind of was like
He came back.
he came back, and now Buddy's trying to eat your microphone. Should you let him be doing
I
that?
mean, it's not gonna. You can't hurt it.
Did let us know if you can hear Buddy chewing on the
Oh, he
microphone.
definitely can.
'Cause he's going after it.
He's trying to get the whole thing.
What the heck?
He just realized I can't get it. He's like, no, I can't.
Anyway,
Now he's chill.
so yep, it happened. So let's talk about it,
Okay.
and not about our cat trying to chew on a microphone.
Or screw up our camera set.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Dirty, bud. Playing on the floor. So yeah, the resurrection, the most important event in Christian history, and really in world history.
this is the like you said, it's a really important event, the most important.
Yeah.
It's the turning point of history. Is really what it is.
Yeah.
It's you have so under the old system, under the Jewish system, the old system of sacrifice, you really had
Yeah.
all you really had under that system was you had a bunch of ceremonies that you had to go to. You had a bunch of sacrifices that you had to do. You had a bunch of things that you had to do, like, okay, in order to observe this holiday, I have to go make a sacrifice because I'm unclean.
Mm-hmm.
In order to do this, I have to do that. So it really wasn't. It was a temporary solution,
Right.
honestly, is what it was.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely temporary on the basis that it was all of that stuff was done in preparation for
Right.
Jesus coming to the earth,
Right.
and so, of course, this is stuff that would have been happening for hundreds of not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds of years.
Right.
Uh,
It would have been happening for a few thousand years.
for
at
a
this-
few thousand, yeah,
Yeah.
but not as long as I was about to say,
Right.
but for a very long time. So, even though in the grand scheme of things, it really wasn't. Or I'm sorry, it really was temporary. It felt like it wasn't to
Right.
the Israelites and the prophets and everybody.
Excuse me.
But when it happened, it was finally the culmination of
Mm.
everything, and that's why
Right.
they call it the fulfillment of the Old Testament.
Right.
Is because it literally was fulfilled. Like everything was completed, all the requirements are done.
So he's Buddy is
So-
over by the course, and I'm just keeping an eye on, make sure he.
I've got it.
Okay, good. Anyway, but yeah, it's
But we're gonna be so distracted.
it's definitely a depiction of Jesus, and it's also it's the appeasement of God's wrath. But to me, this always felt like a solution that wasn't going to work like long term.
Mm-hmm.
You can only say, oh, you can only like sacrifice so many times before it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
oh, we gotta like fix this, so they don't have to every time they sin, they don't have to go make a sacrifice.
Right. I was pushing stuff back into the frame. Guys, you gotta move. Stop it.
But anyway, so that's one angle of it. So the actions of Jesus, and not just living a perfect life, but going through the crucifixion and the resurrection.
Yeah.
This is the more permanent solution of what we need to do. Okay, the wrath of God is completely satisfied, but also you can't just go around sinning whenever you want.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't agency to just do whatever you want.
It wasn't a hall pass for.
Yeah.
Got him. All right.
I'm gonna keep him with me.
Yeah.
You're causing problems too, but you gotta stay here.
But anyway, so I guess we should talk about like the actual event itself. Like
Well, that was the point.
that was the point. So, you look like you got something pulled up. I have
do.
something pulled up for shortly after when the resurrection happened,
Yeah.
or part of the resurrection
that's what
story.
I pulled up too, but I can go through some of the events here.
So, I have Matthew 28 pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
Really, verses 1 to 15 are the story of the record of the resurrection. But I'm gonna focus on verses 11 to 15.
Go for it.
So the resurrection has just happened, and it says, while they were going, behold, some of the guard went into the city and told the chief priests all that had taken place.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had assembled with the elders and taken counsel, they gave sufficient sum of money to the soldiers and said, tell people his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. And if they, excuse me, and if this comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble. So they took the money and did as they were directed. And this story has been spread among the Jews to this day.
Yeah.
And when it's anytime in the Bible when it says to this day, it says to the day this was written.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say to present times, this is the story that most people say, oh, his disciples went and stole the body, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, he died, he passed out, or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, this is just an interesting part of the story. You have the guard that was set over Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
which you think is fairly weird. You're getting like the Roman soldiers wouldn't have any qualms about it, because it's just like, okay, orders are orders. They say stand
Right.
outside the tomb, we stand outside the tomb.
Right.
That part's not. It's just weird to have a guard over a tomb. Because
That is really strange.
it's a weird thing, because you're afraid.
What are you gonna be afraid of? He came back.
Yeah, he's gonna come back, and if he does come back, what are the guards gonna do?
I mean, yeah, seriously.
A dude just rose himself from the dead. What are they gonna do?
It is kind of interesting, actually. Like, what was the thought
What was-
process there? I mean, I'm sure it was they wanted to stop part of it, I think was they wanted to stop people from potentially stealing the body.
Right.
But I think they knew what was going to happen. I think they were trying to keep him in the grave.
Again, I ask, you just crucified him. What are they really going to do?
Right, exactly. So,
and I'm laughing, but I'm not like trying to to disrespect the scriptures. It's just like, okay,
you're laughing at the situation.
I'm laughing at the situation
because
you just crucified this dude.
They knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
You just crucified this dude. He, for all you know, rose himself from the dead.
Yep. Now, going before that, there's something I want to point out.
Right.
A lot of people screw up what crucifixion looked like at this point in time.
It was a very gruesome process.
It's a very gruesome process, but a lot of people don't understand how he would have been hanging on the cross. So, I've taught this a few times in youth group, but basically crucifixion wasn't death by torture. They knew how to keep you alive. They would keep you alive at the most bare minimum possible.
Right.
But you would be in torture and pain. Here's the thing.
Constantly.
So, when people were crucified, the way that they were dying was by slow asphyxiation. That's how you died on a cross, was asphyxiation. And I'm going to explain to you why. So, when you're on the cross at this time, your arms are not hanging like this with a nail through them. If that were the case, your wrist is too brittle to hold your body weight like that. Eventually, it would just rip out, or the nail would just rip through.
Right.
So that wouldn't be possible to do it the way that most people have. What would have likely have happened with Jesus, especially if they were following a traditional Roman crucifixion,
right,
your arms would have been taken around the back, actually back and over like this, the cross, and they would have tied kind of your forearm here. They basically would tie a loop around the cross and your arm, and then they would run the nail through.
Right.
They would do that for stability. And then your feet, instead of overlapping each other like this, it was actually like this on each side of the post. Now, I forget what passage it is in Isaiah, but it says that no bones were broken on him.
Right.
And that is true. If your feet are over top of each other like this,
right,
you can't nail it in a way that wouldn't break a bone. But since it was to the sides, one foot on each side
right,
of the cross or of the post, you actually can. Now, here's the thing. When your arms are like this, your body's being tilted forward from your shoulders, okay? I hope you can still hear me well. So your body's being tilted forward, and your legs are to the side. And so what happens is that it basically turns your joints so that you collapse in on yourself.
Right.
And so it's your body is suffocating under its own weight. And when you're under that much torture and pain and stress, most of the time what would happen is people would die of a heart attack or stroke or something like that. But if they didn't, they would be struggling to breathe, and they would be pulling themselves up, gasping for breath. But it was so painful to do that because when you
have nails embedded in your
either your feet or your arms,
or both,
or both in this case, you're either pulling yourself up, so you're getting all those splinters and everything in, because I guarantee you they didn't check for that. And it's pulling and turning a little bit on those nails that are through your wrists, or you're pushing up from your feet, and it's in the webbing, like in the flesh of your feet, and you're digging into that and pushing that way. And so it actually is painful to even take a breath. And so that's why in Luke 23 verse 49, Luke 23:46, it says, Jesus, crying out with a loud voice, said, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. And having said this, he breathed his last. So basically what would have happened is he knew he was about to go. He gave one last pull, said, into your hands I commit my spirit, and just
collapsed
in on himself and died.
And to add on to that, if you survived a crucifixion, which was very rare, because
Yeah.
eventually they would just, we saw it with the two thieves, they would just break your bones, so you wouldn't even have
Yep.
the ability to hoist yourself up.
Yep.
To,
That's they would break their legs.
to breathe.
Uh-huh.
But let's just say you survived. They didn't break your legs, so you survived the crucifixion, and they took you down for whatever reason. You have exposed skin, getting exposed to splinters,
Yep.
and I don't think it's too much of a leap to say that they used those crosses until they basically couldn't anymore,
Probably.
and as well as the nails. So if someone got you down from a cross, there's probably a numerous amount of infections that you might have gotten.
Yeah.
If you gotten taken down from a cross, there's a numerous amount of infections that you might have gotten from the nails, from the
Yeah.
wood, from like the dried blood
Oh.
from previous victims.
Think about the whips and stuff.
Yeah, from the whips. There's probably a number of diseases that you would have gotten from that they would have had no cure for at the time. So you would have probably died within a week anyways.
Oh, you would have been dead within 24 hours.
Right.
I think you would have died no matter what.
Right.
They just knew how to keep you alive long enough to create a spectacle.
Right. And
That's what the crosses were. They were a spectacle.
and that's what Jesus was coming back from. He was
Yep.
coming back from the most torturous, just agonizing death devised by man.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back and was just like, "What's up?"
Yep. That's the crazy thing. Like, he just came
Yeah.
back and just showed up.
And getting back to the portion I read about the guards, he again, I'm not laughing at the scriptures. It's just the situation is funny. He just came back from the most devastating death devised ever,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, okay, you guys, if he comes back, do something.
Right.
And
Can you imagine having that job?
you're right.
And then they had to report it that he
And then
came back.
And they had to report that he's gone. And then this is another part of the story that really doesn't make sense. The more you think about it, and this is
Mhm.
something I've taught on in youth group a couple times, is they were like, "Oh, tell the people his disciples came and took the body away." And I just think of the 11, like how.
Right.
Like, it's not just like two guards that are just stationed there.
Yeah.
It's probably a full on like
Oh, it was a whole Roman guard.
it's a Roman guard. So there were a number of people.
Yeah.
So so when I taught on this, my brain goes to okay, so you're telling me 11 dudes that had no fight that
Training.
had
Yeah.
no battle training whatsoever.
Wiped out a Roman guard.
Were able to knock out a Roman guard.
No.
and,
No.
like
That's not going to
Okay,
happen.
Granted, Peter, James, John, and Andrew, fishermen, strong dudes, no doubt.
Strong, but
Strong,
but
but
it takes
it
training to do what
yeah,
you need
it takes
to do.
a certain level of training, and the only one that you could even say might have any like battle training whatsoever is Simon the Zealot.
Yeah.
But even then, he's just all he has is a little dagger.
Yep.
So
He's not a full-blown fighter.
So to say that 11 dudes who, okay, most of them were probably strong,
Mm-hmm.
but
They ain't that strong.
strength without skill isn't helpful in a fight.
Yep.
So you're telling me these 11 dudes came in and subdued a Roman guard without triggering any sort of alarm from the other Roman guards? Like
It didn't happen, guys.
it
That
didn't happen.
Jesus came back,
That
and all of the Roman guard was knocked out.
and all the Roman guard was knocked out. Imagine being the Roman guard though, just like seeing the angels, just like the stone rolled away,
And then you pass out.
and then you pass out. Did he roll like a vinyl record? Was it just like
It was just like, just going back and forth on it. It's just
So-
Jesus' disc jockeys up there just
again? Yeah,
rolling the stone.
that is total Zach and Nathan imagination.
Yeah,
right there.
we're having fun with that one.
This is something that the more you think about it, there's some humor in it. Just like
Yeah.
to look at it and it's just like, okay, how did that work?
Right. So I want to keep moving forward because Jesus comes back and he appears before everyone and scares the crap out of the disciples. But there's something that people miss a lot, and I actually taught on this a few days ago. People don't realize that God showed himself to the disciples at least 3 times before he went back. So if you read John chapter 21, this is often considered the chapter that was added after John's writings. And let me see. I want to find... Yeah, John 21:14. I'm going to start there. It says, "Now this is the 3rd time that Jesus was manifested to the disciples after he was raised from the dead." This is when he was with Peter and all them fishing. And John 21:15 says, "When they finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?' He said to them, 'Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.' And he said to him, 'Tend my lambs.' He said to him a second time, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me?' He said to him, 'Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.' He said to him, 'Shepherd my sheep.' Then he said to him a third time, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me?' And Peter was grieved because he had asked him a third time, 'Do you love me?' He said to him, 'Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you.' And Jesus said to him, 'Tend my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will gird you and bring you to where you do not wish to go.' Now this he said, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he, Jesus, had said to him, 'Follow me.'" So he says this 3 times to Peter. Now, what did Peter do right before the crucifixion 3 times?
He denied Jesus.
He denied Jesus 3 times.
After telling Jesus he wouldn't deny him.
Yeah. So Jesus says this 3 times, and it says that Peter was grieved. And I think this is such a cool passage. Now, what's even more interesting, and someone pointed this out to me a few days ago, when Jesus asked Peter the first 2 times, "Do you love me?" he says, "Do you agapeo me?" And Peter says, "Yes, I phileo you. I love you like a friend." And then Jesus asks again in verse 16, and it's the same thing. "Do you agape me?" And Peter says, "I phileo you." But then the 3rd time, Jesus asks him, "Man, do you even phileo me? Do you phileo me?" And then Peter grieves and says, "You know that I phileo you."
Yep.
I think that's really interesting that
It is.
that Peter, well, I guess Simon, changes the word, and then God finally asks, "Do you phileo me?"
Do you love me like you say you do?
Right.
So, brief explanation for people who might not fully understand. Phileo and agape are 2 different
They're forms of love.
forms of love. Phileo is the friendship, brotherly love, like me and Nathan have for each other.
Yep.
There's eros, which is the
Sexual. Yep.
and then there's agape, which is I forget what's agape.
It's unconditional love.
It's unconditional.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Jesus is asking Peter, "Do you love me unconditionally?" And Peter's saying, "I love you like a friend." And then Jesus asks again, "Do you love me unconditionally?" "I love you like a friend." "Do you even love me like a friend?"
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, "Of course, you know I love you like a friend." And it's just like,
And Peter was grieved. I think Peter was probably feeling pretty low.
Oh, yeah.
because of what happened right before the crucifixion.
Yeah.
Like, do you actually love me the way you say you do? And I think he really had just a moment where he was like, man, I don't think I do.
He did just like I want to
Like,
say
I screwed up before. I can't
screwed
say
up.
that I love you unconditionally.
Yep.
But God forgives it.
Right.
He just says, look, I don't care. You do the job I'm telling you to do. And, of course he does. But,
and by that he proves his love for Jesus. But
Yeah. But, yeah. He had to listen a little bit and be kind of brought down.
So,
But then he tells him how he's going to die.
yeah.
I think that's really interesting.
So yeah, that's another thing. This is something I've told the kids before. So, I kept it vague for the kids. Youth group, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to mislead you. You guys can look this up. But the Watergate scandal, if you remember this, Nathan, or if you remember hearing about it.
Well, I was going to say I wasn't there, but yeah.
Yeah, neither of us were there, but so I forget which president it was. But it was the current president. It was the current president. I think it was Nixon, if I remember right.
Uh-huh.
It was the current president and like 11 of his aides and advisors were sequestered and basically interrogated for like 2 weeks because of what happened with Watergate.
Right.
And one of the aides who eventually got saved, his testimony is like, the Watergate scandal converted me, basically. And I'm summing up what he said. So
right.
So he's just like, the Watergate scandal converted me, and the interviewer, the guy asking the questions was just like, oh yeah, how? He's just like, think about it. We were 12 of the most powerful men in the world, and the way I said it, just to get an idea of how powerful these men were, they were 12 of the most richest men. They had money, they had influence. They could snap their fingers, bring somebody in front of them, and say, "Go get me a ding dong."
Yep.
And that was treated as basically an order.
Yep.
Even though it was just like, "Hey, go get me a snack."
Right.
Right. And the aide says, if we had all that power in the world and couldn't hold the lie up for 2 weeks, how in the world did 12 guys from pulled up middle of nowhere Galilee hold up the lie for
however many years
and die for it?
Exactly. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
So it's incredible. I mean, the amount of consistency that the word has is insane.
It is.
And another proof of this too is the amount of people that saw Jesus afterwards.
Right.
1 Corinthians 15, we go to that all the time because it's like the most basic,
it's
summarized gospel.
Before you go too deep, am I wrong to say it could be considered the gospel according to Paul?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, literally.
It's simplified terms, but it's just like, okay, that's what it is.
But yeah, that's basically what's going on.
Sure.
But 1 Corinthians 15, 5, I'll read just a couple of verses there. It says, so after Jesus rose from the dead, he appeared to Cephas and then the 12, and he appeared to more than 500 brethren at one time, most of them who remain till now, but some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James and then to all the apostles, and then as to one untimely born, he appeared to me also. So a lot of people stop at verse 5 and say, well, he appeared to the 12. No, he appeared likely to more than 600 people.
Right.
Like, if you look at verse 6, it says he appeared to... not that one. I'm sorry, verse 7. It says he appeared to James and then to all the apostles. But in verse 5, it says he appeared to the 12. So what are these apostles? Because we know who the 12 are. What are the apostles? Well, there was, I believe, in Luke chapter 10,
Yeah. This is a common misconception. Yes, the 12 were Jesus's inner circle of.
but you didn't
apostles.
have to be in that
Right.
small group to be an apostle.
Right.
People miss that.
People mistake that because if the 12 had power over the rest, then Peter, James, and John should have been like of the highest order
Yeah. No, they were
Which-
definitely credited with being
because they were the
closest. but-
innermost of inner circles. But anyway, yeah, it's. So I told this to the kids a couple weeks ago because I was just like I want to teach on some
Mhm.
of this. Like we were really talking about the resurrection, in legal terms, at least in legal terms of the Jewish legal system, the minimum amount of witnesses you needed for something to be counted as true
Uh-huh.
was 2.
Yep.
Jesus
He had more than 600.
had more than 600.
Likely 600. Because I didn't finish the one thing
Yeah, he had at least.
with the apostles, the extra apostles.
Okay.
Those extra apostles likely were probably the ones in Luke chapter 10.
The
The
70.
extra 70
Yeah.
that he
So
appointed and sent out.
He at least had
Could have been.
512.
512 plus.
512 plus.
Yeah.
512 is the minimum number. And the reason actually, no, it would be 513. No, 12.
Well, yeah, Paul.
Paul.
Yeah.
Fi-
513.
513. Depending on if you count Matthias as one of the 500 or as.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Depending on where you put Matthias, he's in that weird.
He's
like
in because he was kind of.
He
was
was
he an apostle and then they voted on him or something to be part of that group
I can't remember if it was they cast lots or they drew straws.
well they definitely cast lots. I just can't remember if he was already a part of the group. Let me look. I think it's an Acts.
You're okay. There you go. Good job.
So yeah, it's X1.
Pay no attention to me petting the
Um,
cat.
Let's see. Therefore, it's necessary that of the men. Okay, yeah. So he was an apostle. It says in Acts 1:21. Therefore, it is necessary that of the men who have accompanied us all the time that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning with the baptism of John until the day he was taken from us, one of these must become a witness with us of his resurrection. And so it was either Barsabbas or Matthias in Matthias 1.
Again,
So
it's
that could have been actually
Matthias is a weird case because it's just like okay, he became one of the 12,
yeah.
but do you count him as in the 500 or do you count him in
I don't know.
separately?
I don't know who the other 12 would be or the other one individual of the 12 would be because Judas died.
Right.
So
he's
probably thinking, oh yeah, Matthias. Well, but actually he was also
including Paul, we'll say at least 512 plus, because it was more likely more than that. But again, the minimum is 2.
Yeah.
The minimum.
So you have at least 510 more than what's legally
Yes.
required.
Yes.
And that was after an illegal process
Right.
of death.
Oh, I've talked about that so many times. It's
Jesus had the only legal right for anything.
So, technically speaking, Jesus shouldn't have even been crucified.
No, he shouldn't have been.
Legally speaking, because first off, they had his trial at night,
Yep.
which you're not allowed to do.
It's supposed to be during the day.
It's supposed to be while the sun is up. So they had to hurry up and have a trial for him
Yep.
after sunrise.
They had to have another one, didn't they?
They had to have another one. They bribed several witnesses,
Yep,
which
they
again
did.
you're not supposed to do.
That would be like if somebody bribed one of Amber Heard's witnesses.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, they bribed several witnesses, they bribed Judas to betray him in the first place.
Yep.
Again, why are you paying someone to? If this man is legitimately like in
Mhm.
legal trouble, why are you having to pay people to testify against him and
Right.
pay someone to help you arrest him?
Right.
Um,
You would have thought somebody in this process would have been like, "Hey, wait a second."
they took someone did. They took him to Pilate, and Pilate was just like, "What's the charge?" And they were like, and he was just like,
So there's no
"Charge him with something."
Yeah,
People forget the first time they take him to Pilate, they really didn't have a charge against him. And Pilate's just like, charge him with something, okay?
basically said, "Go away and come back."
It sends him to Herod. Herod's just like, what's the problem here? And Herod's just like, I don't care. Send him back to Pilate.
Well, didn't he beat him
Yeah, I think he beat him and mocked him a little bit,
and then sent him back?
and then sent him back. And then by the time he gets back to Pilate, they were like, he under our laws he blasphemed, which means he should die. And Pilate's just like, okay.
But Pilate was
Pilate's just like,
he.
fine.
Well, I don't think it was that simple. I think man, Pilate is such an interesting character.
Pilate
I think he legitimately didn't want to do it because he kept maintaining that he's innocent,
Oh yeah, you see,
and he literally turned it over to the people to vote on who they wanted,
right?
and
So
he basically said, "My hands are clean of this." Now, what he should have done, because, what he should have done, instead of acting out of fear of the people, he should have just said, "This man's innocent. This case is closed. You can have him back, and Barabbas is going to jail."
right,
But
so, Barabbas is another interesting character, and
we don't know anything else about him.
Right, and I recorded a video about Barabbas.
Yeah.
I basically I said we don't know what happened to it, what led him to be arrested, and we don't know what happened to him.
Well, we kind of know what happened with him
After.
being arrested because he was a zealot, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So he was probably causing riots,
he was probably causing riots.
which is probably
Right.
why they wanted Barabbas, so that he could cause another riot.
But point being, we don't know too much about Barabbas. We don't know what happened to him afterwards, but most likely you're right. He caused another riot, and
Yep.
he got arrested again and probably got killed. So
Now, here's the interesting thing. So in the movie The Passion of the Christ,
right,
you've pointed this out a number of times. Watch it if you can.
watch it.
I
And
haven't
if you're-
actually seen the full thing yet.
If you are too young, if you're like,
Ask your parents.
talk to your parents. Just like what, but
But, anyways, you want to explain the scene since you've seen it?
so, and I've seen this a number of times. The actor playing Barabbas in the Passion of the Christ film.
Yep.
He went into filming. He went into filming the movie basically. He as an atheist. The guy himself has admitted that he's like, I went to the movie as an atheist.
Pietro Cerubi.
So he was just like, I went into the film as an atheist. Well, what happened was he ended up leaving the basically the production as a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and where you can see where I think that happened mostly is in the movie when they. Okay, so context we've talked about Barabbas.
Mhm.
It's in the context of they have just released Barabbas.
Right.
Jesus is standing there, and you see Barabbas start walking down the steps of the dais there,
Yeah.
and the actor, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it,
Pietro.
Pietro.
Yeah. Pietro Cerubi.
But anyway, the actor, you can see Barabbas. He looks at Jesus. He looks at Jesus once,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, you can see him turn back and look at Jesus a second time,
Right.
and have a thoughtful expression on his face.
Yes.
I don't think that was. Let me be careful.
Yeah.
We don't know what. Again, we don't know what happened to Barabbas afterwards.
No, we don't. Or during really even.
we really
We're
don't.
just told that he gets let
he
let off the
gets
hook.
he gets released, so we don't know if this was how true to life this is.
Yeah.
And so for very well, Barabbas could have gotten saved and gone off and been like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
this guy sacrificed himself for me. Let me tell you my story." Anyway, But
We don't know what happened. No.
but yeah,
But-
how true life is that scene? Don't know.
But it's incredible that somebody got saved acting that part.
Acting that part,
And
because
it was that double take that he did.
it was that double take, and I venture to say that was the actor. Again, I'm not one to speculate,
Uh-huh.
but could Jesus have appeared to the actor in that moment?
Could have. I mean, I don't want to
Again,
speculate.
speculation.
I think
All I'm saying is he's God. He could.
he definitely had a moment. Like
He had a moment
he definitely
where he paused. At the very least, seeing Jim Caviezel like that, he paused and was just like, "Holy crap!"
this is real.
Even with it just being makeup, holy crap! For a guy to look like that,
To be that beat up.
To be that beat
and
up.
still have
and still
that expression.
have the expression of go. Anyway,
It's incredible, man.
it's amazing.
All right. I think we're going to transition this thing because, yeah, it's, guys, it's incredible what Christ did for us, man. Yeah.
This is the most, like you said earlier, this is the most important event in human history of an innocent man, the God man, an innocent person, taking on the death penalty for us that we completely deserved because he loved us that much.
Yeah. That's insane.
And
I wouldn't have done that for anybody.
no,
Like, seriously, who would have done that?
well, nobody.
Yeah.
I did this once, so this is a bad. So we talked about bad analogies and Sunday school this morning.
Yeah.
But speaking of bad analogy, so speaking of a bad analogy, I asked you this in youth group, Nathan, if it was between you and me and your kid, who would you save?
My kid. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I know you would support that decision.
You know full well I would have, if the kid was in reach, I would be throwing him up to you, saying, hey,
Yep.
save him.
Oh, I know. I don't like
But-
thinking about that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the only God would sacrifice his kid for us. Anyway,
All right, guys. Like,
And-
comment, subscribe.
and
Thank you.
Seriously, if you guys are watching this,
Yeah.
if you guys are watching this,
Oh, it's this thing.
just consider it. If you're not really,
If you want to know how to get saved, ask in the comments.
and we will release a video